I've never raced at the Circuit of the Americas before, and after today, it might be a while before I try it again. Learning this track for the first time has been an absolute nightmare, and I'm all the way down in P16 on a grid of 24 for this Go Setups GT3 Sprint race on Low Fuel Motorsport. Now, I've been in superb form in Assetto Corsa Competizione lately, but there's every chance it'll come crashing to a spectacular halt in this one.
Green light, give it all you got.
Well, it's not a good start for Peronel in that Ferrari ahead of me. As a result, I've had to move out into the middle of the track to try and get around him, but I get the feeling I may regret that. This first turn is so dangerous, particularly when you're stuck in the middle of the pack, and I've just found that out to my cost. I was concentrating so hard not to collide with anybody, either on my inside or my outside, but ultimately I just got squeezed out. The room disappeared and there was nowhere for me to go, and as a result I've dropped back several positions, so this is not a good start at all. However, I did have a little bit of good fortune in that melee. There was a secondary hit that actually got me facing back in the right direction again. Oh, look at that move from the BMW, and now vlogging. He caught me a little bit by surprise there. I wasn't expecting anybody to make a move at that part of the circuit, but vlogging does indeed force his way through. And a quick glance of the leaderboard says I'm up to P14, so I've actually gained 2 positions from where I started. There must have been more casualties than I realised at turn 1. Meanwhile, big gap here on the inside. Oh, but there's contact, heavy contact with David Almenara in the Ferrari. Almenara took a really wide entry into that turn 11. I think he was trying to square the corner off early to get on the gas early, but of course he turned in just as I was hitting the apex. Big hit there. Now I'm alongside another Ferrari, Gilles Guilleton to my right. I'm going to have the inside line for this turn 12. So as long as I keep it tight and smooth, that should be another position gained. And yes, it is. I'm up into P11 now. And while I was banging doors with Almenara a couple of corners ago, I think there was another car out in the gravel to the right. So that'll account for the extra position I've picked up on this opening lap. And it hasn't turned out too badly after all. I mean, it felt like a complete disaster at turn 1 when I was collected in that pile-up, but I'm going to finish this first lap 5 positions higher than where I started it. Right, let's go back and watch this first corner incident again. You can see me behind the red Ferrari of Peronel, and Nel was really slow off the line. I had to go to the inside to try and get around him, but I sensed I was playing with fire, and sure enough, I was right in the middle of the inevitable bottleneck. Well, there's that secondary hit I mentioned earlier. That was really fortunate because it got me back facing in the right direction. As a result, I was able to rejoin an awful lot quicker than if I'd still been facing the wrong way. Here's another look from the chopper cam, and actually I did have more room than I realised to my outside, so maybe if I'd been a bit more aware I could have avoided that. However, it wasn't the end of the scuffles. It all kicked off again at turn 11. Now we're watching the McLaren number 9 of Christophe Coulin. He started P8, but he is going to get it all wrong coming out of turn 9. He gets on the gas too quickly, the rear steps out, he oversteers hard into the barrier. He's clearly picked up damage. Look at how that McLaren is handling as we approach the sharp turn 11. Coulin is back on the racing line, but he's unable to turn the car as sharply as he would have liked. As a result, he takes out the Ferrari of Gilles Guilleton. And that explains why I had the pace to get past Guilleton down the straight. Oh, I was still watching Coulin. He's going to make a complete mess of the rejoin. Great reactions from the back markers to all avoid him. And just before that happened, I was getting my elbows out too. I spotted a big gap on the inside. However, David Almenara was already turning in. There was a big hit. Watching it from another angle, we can see how Almenara was trying to take a wider entry and a tighter exit. Well, I thought the gap was there. I thought it was worth going for, but maybe it was a little bit too forceful. Right, back to the live action. We're halfway through lap 2, and as you can see, it's not taken me long at all to gap all those cars behind. The nearest to me in 12th position is Vilas Antonio, but he is more than 3 seconds back already. Meanwhile, in front, the BMW of Manal Vlogin is all over the place. It looks like he is really struggling for grip, missing apex after apex. There's another one. He's out onto the curb, but I just can't find a way through. I think he's starting to slow me down a little bit now. It would be nice to get around him and then try and close in on the pack of cars ahead of him, but it is proving really difficult at the moment. I am not getting to grips with this COTA circuit at all. And once again, the BMW out wide over the curbs. This may be an opportunity for me to pass if I can get a smooth exit out of the final turn, but no, I'm nowhere near him. Look at the power of the BMW. He is pulling away. Right, let's jump forward to later on this third lap. I'm having to come up with another game plan to try and get past Vlogin. I'm quicker than him through all the tight and twisty sections, but I'm just lacking the top speed. However, I may get a chance here. It was another mistake from Vlogin exiting the corner. Once again, he was out over the curb and I can pull alongside, but look at the power of the BMW. I was carrying so much more speed out of the corner, but now I've just got no answer. I wonder if potentially I may have picked up some aero damage during that first corner shunt at the start of the race. Maybe that is affecting my top speed. Right, we're going to jump forward again to lap 4. I'm still stuck behind Vlogin, still trying to find a way past without success. He's a little bit wide into that right-hander. That's going to put him offline for this left-hander. Is this an opportunity for me to close in those final few tenths? No, it's not. He's faster once again on the straight. Now, a lap ago, he made a right mess of this turn 11. So just in case he does it again, I'm going to take a wider entry and a tighter exit to hopefully get on the gas a little bit before the BMW. But still, it's not working. And look at this, even with the toe, I'm not making any ground at all. And it was getting really frustrating. Through these tight and twisty sections, I was so much faster than that BMW, but there's just no way past here at COTA. And as we approach the halfway point of the race, I have not been able to find any rhythm at all here. It's a new track for me. I've had to learn it to do the races this week, and learning it was a real challenge in itself. I couldn't find grip, I couldn't find braking points, I couldn't find apexes. And now I'm in a race, I can't find a way to overtake. Once again, as soon as we reach one of the long straights, I just can't keep up with Vlogin ahead. But now we're at the end of the straight and hitting the corners, he is going to start slowing me down. So yeah, I'm finding it really frustrating. Not enjoying this race at all at the moment. I just can't settle. I can't find any sort of a rhythm. But I'm going to keep plugging away, keep battling. If I can't find a way past Vlogin, maybe, just maybe, I can put him under some pressure and force him into making a mistake. And speaking of mistakes, I think I might have made one myself through that section. Yes, sure enough, there's a track cut warning. Thankfully, not an official warning, just an informal one. Well, just as I was starting to get a touch demoralised and lose some ground to Vlogin, my prayers were answered. He is finally going to make a big mistake going into turn 12. He turns in a little bit too early and he is going to wallop that big sausage curb. And my patience finally pays off. That's the opportunity I was waiting for, and I've grabbed it. Yeah, I was really starting to lose my optimism in this race. I couldn't see any way that I was going to break into the top 10, but thankfully the mistake I was hoping for finally came. That's a big sausage curb to hit, and it cost him a load of time. So yeah, that was a real morale booster, and it came at precisely the right time. It's given me a real motivation now to push on, and look how close I've got to Perenelle ahead. I was just trying to switch back there, but I didn't get my timing quite right, so I had to back out of that one, but I'm putting the Ferrari under all kinds of pressure now. However, I think it might be the same story as with Vlogin. I'm quicker through the corners, but I may struggle on the straights. However, I have picked up another position. I'm up into P9. You may have seen the cloud of dust to the right. That was Jerome Bubels. Now, he was fighting for P5 in his McLaren, so clearly something has gone wrong there, and Bubels has come to grief. So we've all gained a position. And now up to 8th. I'm up to 9th. Vlogin up to 10th. But can I go one better? Can I snatch that 8th position? Well, if I am going to, I need to get this final corner absolutely spot on. I need all the momentum I possibly can to challenge Janelle's Ferrari down this start-finish straight. And a drive-through penalty for Racer in the BMW, so he is in pit lane. That'll be another position gain. And it could be 2 because I've got the pace on the Nell here. Can I sling it up the inside into turn 1? I've got to keep it as tight as I can. And I do get to the apex first, so now I'm up into P7. And yeah, just when I was starting to wonder where the overtakes would come from, I gained 3 positions in 1 lap. This is the first one. Jerome Boubel's getting it all wrong through that tight and twisty section and sliding out into the barrier. Then at the end of the start-finish straight, I managed to get some toe. There's a BMW in pit lane, so that's the 2nd position gained, and there's the 3rd position gained. As clean as you like, up the inside into turn 1 and past Perronel. Well, my confidence is really growing as this race goes on. We're now at 2/3 race distance, and I've got a sniff of another position. That's Lee Hutchie in the McLaren ahead. Now I've just wiped out his 2-second advantage in the space of a lap, and he has got 10-12 all wrong. Another open invitation to dive through and go up into P6. And yeah, that was how it stayed. I was too far away from Cloudy Ines ahead. I couldn't close in on him, so I had to settle for a comfortable 6th position. But I am absolutely over the moon with that. I really didn't fancy my chances on this circuit of the Americas. I did not find it a fun track to drive, but despite that, I have gained 10 positions. I started down in P16, but I take the checkered flag in P6. And my fastest lap in the race, a 2:09.5, so yeah, definitely not fast enough to challenge the top 5, that's for sure. So what's the deal with this track? Does everybody hate it? When I was on LFM today, I noticed the entries were way lower than I'd expect for Monday races, so I did wonder if the majority of people have just decided to give this track a miss. Now, I've had to learn it and race it for the first time this week, and I've got to admit I didn't enjoy it. Turn 1 is a nightmare. I couldn't find any grip, I couldn't find my braking points, I couldn't find my apexes, and I struggled pretty much from start to finish. However, despite all that moaning, I've actually managed to pick up a pretty decent result out of this. P6 I will take all day long. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know what you think of COTA, and I'll look forward to seeing you for the next one. Cheers.